Hello and welcome to another episode of Roots and Resilience, a leadership podcast by DBNC where we have conversations about leadership. We hope that these conversations build insightful and engaging perspectives as we journey in our lives. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. This episode is a little bit different because instead of our usual one-on-one interview, I actually got the chance to sit down with a number of my DBNC family and ask them about what they do, what they like, and what they're hoping to achieve in 2024. Enjoy! Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your role here at DBNC?
So once again, my name is Jonathon Mitchell, and I am the manager of the Youth Services Department here at Dixie Bloor Neighborhood Center. So that just means that I'm attached to everything children, everything youth. Outside of early on, we know that they have a very good stronghold on the child sector. But I do have some children's programs that operate from 6 to 12. So the full age gamut of my programs are 6 to 29, essentially. We do have a stronger presence with that preteen, teen, and teen, post-teen age group. So looking at that 13 to 29 age bracket with a very, very strong hold on the 13 to 18s, as we have the middle school and high schoolers very involved in our programs. But we'd be doing summer camps, March break camps, looking at doing holiday camps, after-school programs, wellness programs, things that involve mental health, and trying to tie in those extracurriculars into what we offer daily, seeing as though we currently offer programs 5 days a week from 1 o'clock all the way to 7 o'clock through different locations.
That's great. And I know just from, being here for the last 5 years and talking to a lot of the youth and just seeing it in action that it's a really amazing service. And I know people really enjoy it.
Yeah, the energy is shifting, right? We're doing our best currently to take ourselves out of the space and introduce ourselves to the community in the spaces where they're active, right? We are a well-known agency with a well-known space, but our service geographic is starting to expand. The service map is expanding as an agency on a whole, right? And so we recognize that it's difficult for some people to access our services at the times that we provide them. We're starting to see a shift in terms of where our high schoolers are coming from. We've got high schoolers from St. Martin's, from Philip Pocock, from John Cabot, and those are 2-3 buses away sometimes. So we're doing our best to become a little more mobile and operate in the spaces where these youth are already accessing.
Okay, my name is Sonia. I'm from Colombia. I have been with Dixie Bloor since 2006. I started as a volunteer. Then I move on to different positions in Dixie Bloor. Happy to be here. Right now, my role is in English classes to help with the administrative part. As well, I help with other positions as a commissioner of oaths, and I part of the committee of health and safety as well, and social events. That's my role here.
Yeah, that's a lot. You wear a lot of different hats.
Yes, which is nice. I get to know a lot of the team members in the different programs that we have here at Dixie Bloor.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my official role is seniors coordinator, and I coordinate a small team of other staff who work with seniors and caregivers, providing support and community connection. We have a series of drop-in programs during the week. We have some monthly language-specific drop-ins, one of which is virtual. And we have a couple of special projects going now. One is a knitting project, which is so much fun, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And another is a weekly meeting for Spanish-speaking seniors. So I really see my role and the role of the staff, practicum students, and volunteers who work with me as being connectors. I see us as connecting people in the community to each other, to get peer support. Caregivers especially, it's very helpful to them to have peer support. Also to find out about all the other services that Dixie Bloor can offer. Often we can connect them to services they weren't even aware existed. and beyond Dixie Bloor, other services and community organizations that could be helpful to them in the community. So the connection part for me is a really big part of my role here.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I've heard from so many people, and even talking to some of your clients earlier in the year, it's just like they're so grateful for it, and just the connection, and then just being able to learn about the other services that we offer, and then other places they can get assistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's wonderful.
And I think connecting with each other in the community, one of our drop-ins is in a seniors apartment building. And I just love seeing some of the friendships that are being made at the drop-ins. Now, they may have made those friendships, meeting each other on the elevator, going in and out of the building. But I think often, especially when it's such a diverse cultural group, having a drop-in where it's a safe social environment to come and get information, get referrals, do some social activities is a really good way for them to connect to each other.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I've heard nothing but good things about that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that's amazing.
My name is Bruce Birundu. I'm part of the settlement team in DBNC, and I work as a newcomer settlement counselor, Swahili speaking, and mostly I work in the hotels. I deal with asylum seekers, mostly from Africa. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think you started 3 months ago now?
Oh, yeah, I joined DBNC 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's been great so far.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. What's your favorite thing about working at DBNC?
Oh, boy. Okay, well, I've been here for many, many years. And I think increasingly what I appreciate is the diverse group of program participants and clients that I work with and get to know, and also working with such a diverse group of staff. I'm a senior myself, it's pretty obvious, and more I find, of course, as I get older, everybody seems younger, but I'm working with a young group, often of younger staff, who just bring such enthusiasm and energy and skill. And I just feel I'm learning from my colleagues every day, as well as, of course, learning from my clients. So I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so important to learn from the people you work with, but also learn from the clients, and that's wonderful.
Everybody brings a lot of energy, and usually it's a pretty positive energy, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's the people.
Yeah.
From the first day I came into the organization, and we just went around and we were talking to the different counselors and people in the office. Yeah, everyone was welcoming, and I really enjoyed that. It was a good atmosphere, and it felt like home. I felt like there was the support. Everyone was like, if you need anything, you can always come and talk to me. We are here for you. Yeah, so that's one thing I really like about it.
Yeah, that's great. And that's what I found here, and that's what I constantly hear from people, is just how friendly people are, and then it does feel like a family in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love to talk with the clients, to talk with the students, even if they are not newcomers, they're just visiting us for taxes, they're just visiting us from just coming here to Canada as visitors. I love the interaction with the clients and the staff as well.
That's great. Yeah, I think we're really fortunate to have a really good client base, and it's great to see them coming back and just to get to know them a little bit better. Yes.
I work as a receptionist as well. Then a lot of my clients, they recognized us. Even, oh, you were at reception. Oh, I saw you outside. I saw you in my bank and you helped me. Then that's really nice. And you see the different stages of the clients as well. Even if they're students, if they come for immigration to reunify their families, you know a little bit of their lives, and then Dixie Bloor is doing part of their lives as well.
I think my favorite thing is, although I'm very much into change, because I think that change will definitely come with growth, I think that there's a familiarity here that causes people to feel as though it's some sort of family. There's some sort of family dynamic here. Like, a lot of the people that I currently work with were here when I was a placement student 15 years ago. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the social services, right? There's generally a lot of turnover in the social services, right? So to enter into this space in 2008 and then return in 2022 and see most of the faces here are similar or the same. There's a familiarity here that I appreciate, and it also leads me to believe that there's something about DBNC that we're doing very, very well that leads us to be able to retain our staff and retain our clients. I also love the fact that a lot of those people that work here or volunteer here were clients, right? And then appreciated the service that they received to such a high regard that they decided to kind of enter into the social service space and not only follow that path, but then follow it here where they receive the service to then try to now pass forward that olive branch or pass forward that baton, right?
Yeah.
And that's not something that you see very, very often in this space.
Yeah, you're right. It's not super common, and I've seen that a lot with different clients who have come here and now they're working here, they're volunteering, and then even I've been here for 5 years now and seeing a lot of the people and talking to a lot of different managers and other staff who have been here for, as you say, like 15, 20 years who clearly like what they're doing. And I think there is a familiarity here and there is a sense of family that I guess, as you say, is very unique to our agency.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've been in the social services. I started working very young. I started working at 15. And I've been in the social services in some capacity since then, and it's the only place that I've seen that has the combination of that family feel and the staff and client retention. I've seen one or the other at many places, but I haven't really encountered a space that has both.
What are your plans for your team in 2024?
I started with the link classes. It's gonna be a year and a half, I will say. Then it has been a different experience since I wasn't with the communication from the students. I usually was with orientation. That means settlement, immigration, programs for the newcomers. Then I see now that I'm in this program that there's a need for more classes. There's a need to expand and new programs as well inside the link, inside the English class, what it means. Innovate in some ways that we can integrate learning English and doing something in their lives. I don't know, giving them experience in presenting new jobs, and then, okay, this is why you're gonna be not only your English language, but your job language. That would be nice to have. Yes, we have the ELT program, but they have to be level 6, level 7. Then we were actually talking as a team what we can do for the clients, how maybe levels 4 and 5 can start having that interaction with their job. What are their plans? How we can help them to learn English in a work-based program.
Yeah, so it's like, what are their career goals and finding out, okay, what are they hoping to do, and then
Correct.
work on language from that perspective.
Even if it's a workplace, I don't know, help them in how you have to behave. What is the conversation that you can have with someone else? Something that they don't usually learn in an English class environment. And that would be nice. We were talking, okay, maybe we can do this. And yes, we need more space for classes. We need some place that is near Dixie Bloor, and we have more classes for them, more schedules that are beneficial for their learning.
Yeah, so for my position, I mostly deal with like newcomers who've just come recently and they're trying to start life, and most of them don't really have an idea of like what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to go and get maybe their SIN number, how to apply for financial assistance. They need so many services at that point. So my goal for next year is to be able to like reach more people and have more impact on newcomers who move into the country and help them to start off their life in Canada. That's what I'm hoping to do. Yeah.
Yeah, those are huge goals.
Yeah, because in the last 3 months, I've been able to talk to about, I'd say, 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I believe next year is going to be bigger and bigger, and we are going to help more newcomers.
Yeah, but 100 people, that's like not a small number. So you're already doing a lot, which is amazing.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I'm looking to create more programs that would reside virtually, like in the virtual space. So things that would be either YouTube videos that will always be there that you can access no matter where you live at any time. So they're not dependent upon entering the space or the availability of staff. Right, so if we can create some programming that would reside in the virtual space, whether it's on some sort of SharePoint or some sort of virtual hub or something that is specific to us, or on mediums like YouTube, former Twitter, which is now known as X or whatever it may be, Instagram, and having program specific availabilities in that reside in the virtual space, so that no matter what your schedule is, and also you're able to access it and kind of include others that are close to you into your youth experience, right? So being able to have maybe some sort of gingerbread house making activity that a young person that might be in our after school program, might be 8 years old, 9 years old, can now do that in conjunction with one of their parents or their caregivers, right? And include someone in their family into that space and bring DBNC into their home in a better, more inclusive way.
Yeah, that's great. That sounds like a really, really good idea, and it seems like there's a lot of growth. YouTube is growing every day.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. That idea that you don't necessarily need to come to us, but we can actually come to your homes, and we can still provide programming. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. And just having the understanding that we're not trying to hoard these residents, and we're not trying to necessarily hoard them to our space. They can live their lives as they please and enter spaces as they please, and we want to be able to access or be included in their lives in the way that they desire to live it, as opposed to having them have to alter their lives to be a part of our community.
We're always looking for more funding. That's a reality.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
finding there's more and more need for services provided in a diverse group of languages. And I had mentioned that we have practicum students working with us and volunteers, and they often bring other language capacity. But I'm really hoping we can maybe get funding to continue our Spanish-speaking seniors group, possibly continue our knitting group because it's just going so well, and perhaps provide some services or enrich the services that we're already supplying for some other language groups, specifically Polish and Mandarin.
Yeah, that's great. That sounds like a very detailed plan, a lot of different aspects.
Got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, and the funding is always stressful.
It's so competitive. It's so competitive, and I understand that. But we try to do as much as we can on a low budget, but sometimes you just need money to provide a program. It's the reality.
Yep, exactly.
I'm really actually hopeful about. So, part of my story is in direction, and I think that there are parts or components of what we were doing at that time in terms of engaging youth and engaging children that we can reacclimate into our system. I still have some staff that are in their late 20s, early 30s that were program participants at that time, or I have placement students now who are in their early 20s who were in their 10s or their 8 or 7 at the time, who still ask about the programs and the way that we operated programming at that time that we don't currently operate. And I'm hopeful that I'm able to reintegrate some of those very inclusive program strategies into what we do currently or in 2024. We have the Burnthorpe Community Center opening back up again. And I think that's going to be very, very fruitful. Because that was a very, very fruitful relationship for us in the past. And through the pandemic, we went through a lot of shifts with who was accessing our space. We had a lot of youth who were maybe 16 when the pandemic started. We're now are 19 when it ends, and they are kind of shifting from having a lot of time available now that they're in high school to having less time available now that they're in college, and they're trying to acclimate themselves to that world. So we had to go and kind of rebuild our core group and audience from the ground up again, right? And now that we're continuing to build that up, I think that creating partnerships with those in our community that are either service providers or businesses or whatever it may be, being able to integrate them into our life and into like our service profile is something I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to removing as many silos as possible and integrating, as we integrate more community members into our space, integrating other service providers and businesses into our space so that we can create a more wholesome wraparound service field for those who we serve.
I'm hopeful we have the resources. We have teachers. It has been a little bit of hassle because a lot of the teachers right now are doing is online. Then we have seen also that that a little bit of impediment because yes, we try to get teachers to come and teach for the classes, but most of them are teaching online or they live far. And that's our goals, to get good teachers, to get more classes, and to be more in the community what they need really in their classes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That seems like, it's very difficult now because people almost expect that, okay, we're working from home. So there's that, but then also if they're commuting, that can definitely be challenging.
Yeah.
So
even though we have English classes on the online, but our online are for levels 6, 7, 8 in the evening. And in the morning, we stop the online, but I think that maybe there's going to be a need in online in the morning as well. Because a lot of, like you mentioned, they are working from home and then maybe they can accommodate their schedule and then work 3 days and have classes 2 days online. That will be our goal, yeah. And then for all of that, we need funding and we need a specialized program as well.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different moving parts. Sounds like it's a good plan, though. I'm excited to see where things go in 2024.
Yes. The other challenge that we had this year was special need students. We only have 2 or 3 teachers that work with the special needs students, not only in disability, but also knowledge, like they don't retain the information or they maybe learn slowly than the other students. Then we need the space and the environment to get the teachers, the proper teachers, and try to teach them slowly. They don't learn as fast as the other students in the class. Then that's another point that we were discussing. Okay, what is for an adult with the special needs? How we can help them? Where we can put our efforts to help them? That was another challenge for us. That was the schedules, the timings, the online, and the special needs students that we want to serve, that we need them to engage them in the community.
Yeah, that's huge. Like I'll be honest, like I definitely had those challenges in high school and growing up where it's like, I was definitely the slower kid in the class. And so I always appreciated when teachers went out of their way to like try and accommodate.
Yes.
So I think that's huge. And especially like if you're an adult and you're going to school, it's definitely a lot more like embarrassing and you don't want to admit it. So it's great when we can accommodate and find out, okay, how can we help those students do what they want to do?
We saw that a lot of them, they don't learn as fast, but you see the progress. Before, some of them, as a newcomer, sometimes they don't read and write. Not only because it's different from what they learned back home, it's because it's difficult for them. Then we have seen their progress. Oh, you learn to read your name, to write your name, and then now what? Your age, your month, what month we are, and then we seen the progress for them. It's really, really happy to see that in the students.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes.
I'm hopeful that we can continue a lot of what we've started post-COVID. We all went through a really rough patch for nearly 3 years. Yeah. And I'm finding as well, I think we're still recovering from that. And I think a lot of caregivers and older adults in the community are still recovering from that. COVID is still out there.
Yeah,
we still have to be really careful, especially when we're meeting in a group situation. And I hope that we can just continue to build the community connections that we've been able to build since COVID. We had to rebuild a lot of things with our groups. So that's ongoing forever. But I'm pretty positive that we can achieve more in the new year with that.
Yeah, that's great. I think, rebuilding from COVID and just wrapping our heads around the fact that COVID's still here, but it's not quite the same situation as before is huge.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
And it was, it was incredibly challenging. So I think, a lot of rebuilding makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm hoping just to be more present and more impactful in people's lives, and just hoping to see everyone get on their feet and start life.
Mm-hmm.
And hoping I'll be in good health and just be available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are all great things to work towards for sure.
I hope to be more, I'd say, resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me pick resilient. Because, honestly, life does come with challenges here and there. But if you're resilient, then you'll always be on top of your game. And you'll always be looking forward to work even against the obstacles. And try to achieve your goals. So that will be my word for the year.
Yeah, resilience is a good word. I mean, it's in the title of the podcast, so it's perfect.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know you guys have that.
Yeah, it's roots and resilience. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's a perfect word, because I think you're right. Like, if you can be resilient, then you can handle most things that come your way.
You can handle most things for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, it's a new year. We don't know what's gonna come up, but you keep the hope, you stay resilient, and things are gonna be fine.
Yeah.
For next year, and I think for everything, I think just take it easy. Stop.
Yeah.
Smell the roses.
Definitely.
We have been coming from these 2 or 3 years back that first we didn't know what was going to happen. Then we rushed things. Okay, what are we going to do? How we adapt? Then we did it, and then, okay, let's go back to normal. Normal is never coming back.
Yeah.
Then stop, take it easy. Everything is going to be happening the best way it's going to happen. Maybe it's not your way, but it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. Stop, take it easy, think about, and then just take the chance, as well. Take the chance to do something new, to create something new. If it doesn't come to you, okay, what else? What is going to happen?
Yeah, I think that's such a great word, because we got to stop and slow down, and just acknowledge that, hey, things are very different than they were, and we're still adjusting to it.
Correct.
Like you said, 2 or 3 years, and I'm like, it's already 2024, and it's amazing. We've been doing this now, I think, actually 4 years, and
yes, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to come to normal. I'm waiting for that time of, okay, no, something comes up, even in the personal matter. My kids are growing so fast, and everything is like, we cannot continue just working and doing things and try. No, everything goes so fast, and then it's important. Just take it slowly. Think about yourself. Okay, what else maybe I can do? Even here in Dixie Bloor, things change. Like when we came back, not all the team came back. Mm-hmm. Little by little, all the teams can reunite. All the teams have, okay, this person have moved on, or this person stayed but not on the same role. Then as well, it's important. It's important that to take it slowly, just know each other, reconnect again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember like that first. Was it? I don't even remember when it was now. It was like 2021. It was maybe the fall, but I remember like we came back briefly and it was great, and then we shut down again, and now we're back.
Yeah.
So it's always just trying to reacquaint ourselves with, working in the office as opposed to working from home, because we got used to that. So,
it was hard. Working from home is not easy.
Yeah, it definitely has its own challenges.
Yes, for everything. It's like I'm working, or I'm here, or I'm doing what? Do I get out? I get the chance to get out. I wait for the calls. It was long as well, long hours, because the more you're at home, you have to do other things, but then you also have to work. And then it was more working than actually being in the family, or being for yourself, personal time and everything. But yes, we're back, and so happy to be back. And then changes in Dixie Bloor has been with challenges, but we are adapting as well. Yeah, adapting and just making the best of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I'm hoping to enter 2024 with a heightened level of mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. That's a good word.
And continue it throughout. I don't want to just enter 2024 with mindfulness. I want to continue that. I'm starting to realize that a lot of what we do as service providers needs to be based in that. But also in my personal life, I'm starting to realize that a lot of the relationships that that stay strong are also bound in mindfulness, right? Being able to think outside of yourself at a heightened level when it comes to relationship and relationship building takes a heightened level of mindfulness, right? I think that a lot of people, the one thing I've learned is a lot of people, they operate on the golden rule, which is treat others as you want to be treated. But I think a heightened level of mindfulness takes you away from that and has you operate with the platinum rule, which is
Right,
treat
yes.
people as they want to be treated, right? And it takes a level of mindfulness to step outside yourself and view situations and interactions from another person's perspective before you view it from your own. Or when you realize that you're viewing it from your own, to then pause that and view it from theirs or what you believe it to be. And if you're unable to view it from their perspective, create that dialogue or that conversation or that communication or that space for communication where then you can now understand their viewpoint and their side if you can't naturally do it yourself. I'm not someone that's always able to naturally do that. So I'm mindful now through learning in former interactions and interacting with others that were more mindful than myself, that took the time to teach me, and I'm thankful for that. I'm more mindful now that, okay, I have to like think through this process from a different perspective because I don't naturally always do that. I can sometimes be greedy. I can sometimes be selfish, and I have to be mindful of that when interacting in my personal life and as a service provider.
Yeah, that's a great word. And I think that's such a huge thing. I think you touched on one of something I love talking about, which is the platinum rule. Like, we all know the golden rule, but the idea that, hey, we can't just think about how we want to be treated, but how does someone else want to be treated?
Right.
And that's so fundamental to all of the work that we do.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's great. I could go on about this for hours.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, there's a level of there's a heightened level of being dismissive that comes with that golden rule, but we don't recognize it because we're taught that it's the way to operate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, you don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it. So you know, I'm hoping that if anyone can take something from this conversation, it's that.
I think gratitude. I know that's maybe a bit cheesy, but
it's a good word.
It's sincere. You know, I think we've been through a really rough time with COVID. We managed to keep many of our services to the community going, and it's just wonderful to have the opportunity now to be back in person with people and continue some of our virtual programs because that reduces barriers for some people to actually engage, which is wonderful if they're not able for whatever reason to come into an in-person program. So I think just gratitude for my colleagues, gratitude for the community that we work in, and for all the program participants and clients that engage with us. I think there's just amazing potential, and I think we're starting to tap into it.
Yeah, I think gratitude's a perfect word because I think a lot of times we need to remember what we're thankful for and to appreciate what we're achieving, and the fact that
I agree.
you know, we've come out of this, we have the knitting group, and there's just so much positivity. It's really great to see.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, when I think about my standout interactions, I think about I think about our younger children because that is not necessarily the normal youth profile, right? So the normal youth profile will start at 12, 13, and then continue up to either 24, 25, or 29. But with the responsibilities and the programs that I have, I start at 6 years old. And in some cases, I'm interacting with children as young as 5. And having the ability to interact with them so young, so often, because I've got a program that operates 5 days a week, and then building that core relationship and seeing the development that I didn't necessarily get to encounter on a regular basis before the youth age. Now I'm encountering that youth, that child age, and seeing the relationship building and kind of operating in a lot of the same ways, but then having to shift the way that I speak, shift my tone, shift my delivery, shift my language, right? So when I think of like the summer camp, for instance, and we had 2 summer camps this year, and one was dedicated to exclusively newcomers. And I think about just interacting with this child that spoke absolutely no English, and being able to, by the end of that camp, still have a functioning relationship with someone that we had to find a different way to communicate, because language wasn't going to be the way. I didn't understand what they were saying. They didn't necessarily understand a lot of what I was saying. And being able to still develop a very, very strong relationship to the point where they're trying to introduce me to like their parent who also doesn't speak the language, right? But through movement and through gestures and through disposition, the guardian can tell that I'm someone of, in that moment at least, of importance to their child, right? And I'm a place of solace. I'm a person of peace for them that they can trust and respect. That's not something that I get to encounter very often. So having that interaction over a longer period of time was something that I truly still cherish. And it's like, if I was to bump into that child like right now, I don't know, hopefully their English is much better and I'd be able to talk to them. But if not, we would still have that same level of call it love, of familiarity with each other. And like just knowing that that's a long lasting relationship that we together, not I, but we together were able to build with each other, regardless of some of the barriers that we were faced with, is something that's special to me.
Yeah, that's really great. I never really thought about, if you're interacting with someone who, you say, like 5 or 6, and then seeing them grow and developing that relationship and that bond is incredible. And that sounds like that's an amazing story.
Yeah, definitely something special.
There have been many, but I remember, from recently, there was a client that he was a senior. He was coming every time because he wanted to get his citizenship. But he was senior. He spoke French, or he speaks French. I think his level 1. He was so cute. Finally, he was so happy because he got his age, so he couldn't do the exam for citizenship. It was granted to him. They don't have to present the exam for citizenship. They can go and then just get the oath and everything. They will get their citizenship. And he was happy to be accomplished that. And at the beginning, I was like, no, but you have to go to English classes. You have to. And just translating everything, because he was with a translator all the time because he only spoke French. I didn't saw him for maybe 2 weeks, and he came back. He wrote a letter, but it was so cute because he wrote the letter in French. Mm-hmm. Then he made the effort to translate word by word in English and saying thank you and saying, I enjoyed for the teacher, for what he saw in the other teammates and everything. But I was like, oh my God, this not happens every time. Like, it was a full letter, making his effort and everything, because I was telling him all the time, you have to go to English classes. You have to. He was like, no, it's okay. But then at the end, he demonstrated to himself as well and to us, he could do it. But it was so nice. He was a very, very nice gentleman. That was one of them. And then different stages of Dixie Blower. Is always gratifying to see the clients back. And they recognize and they ask, okay, what happened with this? Where can I go? These simple things that we don't even do here at Dixie Blower, but we can refer them. We can say, groceries, or where can I do this for my child or something? Then it's nice. It's nice. They feel here like it's a second house or a second information part of their lives.
Yeah, that's amazing. And going back to that client you mentioned, having a client, and it's always great when they do this, to have a client who was successful, but then they come back and they thank you. Yeah. And that's one of the nicest things. And so that's great. And I'm glad that he has his citizenship now.
Yeah, he got his citizenship. But he didn't even actually use our services completely, but he was just happy that he got the support. Like, we talked to him and we encouraged him. Yeah. And I think that's why he wasn't even coming for the services. Like, we registered him and everything, but no. And he was constantly coming, and at the end, he was so grateful to see him translating that and coming and showing to me and everything. He said, congratulations, and he was so happy.
Yeah,
Now
that's
he could,
wonderful.
Yeah, it was very, very nice. That was so cute. That's from the link classes. Yeah, and like I said before, with the special client that he has special needs, it was nice. It was like she came and she was signing, and then for the first time, with all the confidence, she came and then she sang her name completely. I'm like, oh my God, that was very nice to see her. Yes, the teacher, and she was saying she could speak properly, but it was only her writing. And she said, yes, I learned with a lot of effort, and she learned how to write her name and everything else. A lot of little things here and there that you see clients doing that
wonderful.
effort. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very,
truly
very nice.
amazing.
Yes.
I was thinking about that, and I would like to sort of take it a little further than just with one client. I'd like to talk a little bit more about our interactions with all of our program participants at our knitting group. Our knitting group has been funded for a year through the Seniors Community Grant, and we go, officially we go until the end of March 2024. We have 36 women and one man. One of the wives brought along her husband, and he's very engaged, which is wonderful. We're hoping to perhaps attract more men knitters. So we have 36 people registered. Every week we have about 18 to 20 coming. Not everybody can come every week. And it's a really diverse group, and I really wasn't sure how it would work because we have several people who speak Mandarin, not much English. We have 3 women who speak Spanish, a little bit of English, and pretty much the rest are English speaking. But I'm finding with the group that they are able to overcome any barriers of language. It's just a very friendly, engaged environment. They're teaching each other their different stitches and different patterns, and they're overcoming any language barrier to do so. The goal of the program, we are producing some knitting items for our community care closet, which is exciting. But the overall goal of the program, again, is to reduce social isolation. So we have this group of women and one gentleman who are coming every week and really enjoying sharing their craft and their skills and teaching each other different aspects of knitting. We've also had 2 wonderful Toronto Metropolitan University nursing students involved. They've just finished, but we have 2 more coming in the new semester and in the new year. And they got very involved as well, got to know the senior women, learned a little bit of knitting themselves, and were able to give us several PowerPoints on different cultural aspects of knitting and also the mental, social, and physical benefits of crafting. And so there's just been some really good engagement and discussion, and that's just been so gratifying for me. So I can't give you an example just now of a specific client, but I just wanted to kind of expand a little bit on our lovely knitters in our knitting group.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And again, I keep hearing about the group, and just like the people that I talk to, it's like that's what they look forward to. They're always excited when it's a knitting day and they can come in and they can create something. It's
wonderful. A real bond, actually.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see that happening.
Oh yeah, being in settlement and being in social work, we do have so many interactions that stand out. But the one interaction that I'd point out is I had a client move into the hotel, and they were senior. The client is a senior. She's a senior. She's about 67 years old, and she had challenges with the language. She didn't understand English. She could not write English, So it was tough for her. And when we moved into the hotel and started doing our settlement job, she was really happy that we were there and we were able to speak in the language and we were able to converse. And yeah, it was so amazing to see her, being able to work with us, start from the first steps, help her, set up a bank account, do translation, send her to English classes. So yeah, we've been doing so much support for her. Like we've been giving her so much support, and right now she left the hotel and she moved to a house.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, she's enrolled in English classes, She got a volunteer opportunity. Yeah, so I'm really proud of what we did in her life. And yeah, actually yesterday she came back and she was like, "I'm so thankful for you guys for being here." And yeah, you've really impacted my life.
That's the best feeling when you get to like help someone, but you get to see them, progressing, and they come back and they say, "Hey, you know what? Things are great. I'm really thankful."
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
wonderful. If you could go back in time when you were 16, what would you tell yourself?
Okay, I really need to think about that. I think I would give her a hug.
Yeah, I think we could all use,
I think
especially
I
at
would,
16.
I think I would give her a big hug. And I think I would say to her, as you go forward in the years, everything may not work out that you have in your plans. We all have big plans at 16, big aspirations. Sometimes we're a bit confused, but we have big aspirations. And I think I would tell her that, welcome the things that you didn't expect to happen, sometimes didn't even really welcome happening, because sometimes they can lead to things that you never expected that are really positive and a real opportunity for growth.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge thing because you're right. At 16, we have so many plans. We have ideas of what we want to do. And we're told that, okay, you got to know what you want to do now. You got to go pick your, like, where you're going to study in university when you get there.
Yeah.
So just being told that, especially by yourself, that, hey, you know what? Embrace the opportunities, embrace the things that you weren't expecting or that you weren't even hoping for.
Yeah. You can't control everything in your life, right? And life throws things at us that we probably, it was a good thing we maybe didn't know about when we were 16. But sometimes it can turn into something positive.
Yeah,
so,
that's so true.
Well, my 16-year-old self was, I think I had doubt about the future. And I wasn't sure what the future was going to be like. But when I look back between 16 and now, I couldn't predict that maybe one time I'd maybe probably move out of my home country, go to a new country and start life. It was never in my wildest imaginations. So yeah, what I would tell my 16-year-old self is that stay positive and always work towards the right direction. Things are just going to open up. Yeah, you don't have to really worry so much about how things are going to be in future. Everything will take shape and things will be the way they're supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's such a good thing to hear because at 16, it's like, there's so many opportunities and you're like, as you say, there's doubt about the future.
yeah.
And so just being told, hey, if you keep working hard, you go in the right direction, things will work out.
Yeah.
And there will be new opportunities.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause,
that's huge.
Yeah, we tend to worry so much about the future, and most of it we are not in control.
Yeah,
You know?
it's really, it's like,
we really can't predict what the future holds for us.
Yeah.
We can only work towards the direction we think we'll be headed to. That's it.
Yeah, that's so true. I think like I know personally if I heard that more, especially from a future version of myself that was already doing well, I would have slept so much better at night. Because I mean, there's so many times where you're just like, I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Huge, but yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I tell my 16-year-old self.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you know what? I was back in Colombia. That time, it was hard for me. I moved. I used to live in one part of Colombia, and then I had to move at my 15 year. Then I had to leave all my friends, start all over. It was hard for me. Then I will say, don't be afraid. Just go with the flow. Go with the flow. I was since that happened, like I moved and everything. I had to adapt to everything. Don't be afraid. I think experience things. Listen to your parents. A lot of the things that they say now on my mind say, okay, yeah, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I made the way? Why did I worry too much? Yes, just listen to your parents and go. Don't worry too much. Things will come. Trust what the parents and what the society has left you, like they have teach you. Trust in that. That will say that to do her.
Yeah, I think that advice is so good because for one thing, just know that things are going to change, but just that you'll be able to adapt to it. But also, yeah, listen to your parents. I think that's one of those things where I think back to what my parents have said. And it's like, oh man, I should have done that.
Yeah.
Like there's like a feeling when you're that age that, oh, I know what I'm doing.
I know everything.
But
Don't tell me what to do. But yes.
yeah, but then you also realize, oh, you know what? My parents were right about this.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was at that time. It was a lot of effort from me to adapt to a new city and everything.
Yeah,
but
I can't even imagine what that's like.
It was,
You said at
yes.
15.
I had to move. Yeah, my 15, and then in my culture, there's the quinceañeras, that age. Oh my God, it was really hard for me to leave my friends, but we had to. It was my dad had to change of work. Then my mom and my sister stayed in one part. I stayed with my dad, and then it was hard, but I think I learned. I learned to adapt. I learned to move along. Then just don't be afraid, I will say. And then that helped me, because then when I had to move from university to US and from here, that helped me. You never know when we're gonna use that, and then it helped me to move on.
16. I would tell my 16-year-old self that the things you've always asked and prayed for are coming, but they're coming with difficulty, but you asked for them, so don't be frustrated. Like, keep pushing, because you asked for those things for a reason. You asked for those responsibilities for a reason. You asked for those blessings for a reason. And there's always has to be a level of balance. That's what keeps the world operating and turning, right? So when you are asking for responsibility and asking for blessings, there's going to be the opposite side of that responsibility and blessing. But without that balance, things don't operate correctly. Without the rain, the flowers won't bloom, right? So you can't just ask for the summer and the flowers, right? You have to have the spring and the rain showers, right? And I would tell my 16-year-old self to apply that methodology and that thinking to the way that I live and operate and think about how I move forward. Like, I always wanted to be able to care for those that cared for me. I always wanted to be able to show love and appreciation, and to be able to have that ability. There's a heightened level of stress sometimes. There's a heightened level of fatigue sometimes when caring for others, right? But I asked for this, so now I got to be able to be mindful of what I asked for and what also comes with that. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah, I think that's such an important thing to know, and to even to get that. Like for myself, 16-year-olds, it would be great to hear that, hey, things are going to come. Things that you've been praying for, that you've been asking for, are coming your way. But it's going to come with responsibility. It's going to come with difficulties. Yeah. But just work through those. Yeah, I think that's all we need to hear is, hey, things are going to be good. It's just going to be a little tough to get there.
Yeah. The good stuff is always worth it, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
What comes with it, take it, because in the end, it's what you asked for. And sometimes you get more than what you asked for, and so you get the heightened responsibility. But it's okay. You got what you're able to manage. You know what I mean? It's not too much. So. But I would also tell myself to be gracious. I feel like I wasn't gracious enough to myself. I think a lot of us are very hard on ourselves. We're our biggest critics, and I would tell my 16-year-old self, as well as all of your 16-year-old selves, as you age and continue to grow until the day that you're no longer walking this earth, continue to be gracious to yourself.
Yeah, that's huge. Just be gracious to yourself, definitely. Yeah. Such an important thing.
Definitely.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in 2024.